Greetings to everyone. My name is Stephen Eugene Carter Sr., and I'm the proud pastor of Mount Arbor Church of Brooklyn, New York. I'm happy to play a role with Pastor Matthew Watley of Kingdom Fellowship, AME Church. God has given our dear brother a vision with leadership training into so many pastors, which you definitely don't want to miss, and we're going to talk more about that. We are so excited on this day to have in this interview, Bishop Walter Scott Thomas, the senior pastor of the New Psalmist Baptist Church of Baltimore, Maryland, who I have a tremendous amount of respect for. He's a powerful preacher. He's an author. He's the former president of the Hampton Ministers Conference. He's a husband, a father, a grandfather, and a leader to so many pastors and lay people across this nation. And we're just so excited and honored that he took our time to take a few moments to share with us. So without further ado, let me introduce to some and present to others the one and only Dr. Bishop Walter Scott Thomas. How are you doing?
Hey, Stephen, I'm doing good, man, and I'm honored to be on with you and to share with Kingdom, and especially my friend Matthew, for all the great work that he's doing. It's just a delight to be able to have some time to talk.
Well, I was excited when you accepted the invitation, and I'm just excited to hear what you have to share. But before we get started, if you don't mind, just in case there's someone who may not know you, which I know that it's impossible, but just in case if there's someone who may not know you, do you mind just introducing yourself a little bit to those who are listening and viewing?
Yes, Stephen. I'm Bishop Walter Thomas. I'm pastor of New Psalmist Baptist Church. I've been pastor of New Psalmist. Let's see, 48 years. I'm going into my 49th year, and it's been a great run. I've enjoyed it. I've been blessed of God to oversee our ministry in 4 locations. The last 2 we built from the ground up, and been blessed to have a ton of sons and daughters in ministry that are out now serving in the kingdom, and to now be in the last stages of pastoral ministry here at New Psalmist.
Wow. To those who don't understand, who can't appreciate what he just said, I want to put it in perspective. He's been pastoring 48 years, and I am 48 years old. I want to put that in perspective, that he's been at this for a long time and making a difference in the lives of so many people across this nation. And we respect you on so many levels. So I just want to ask you a few questions as we prepare for this Kingdom Fellowship AME conference. As a result of your own experiences in ministry over these years, and you look at where you are now and where ministry is today, after 48 years, what comes to your mind?
I think that every pastor and every leader has to have a healthy sense of failure. I think in order to effectively do ministry in this season, we have to have a healthy sense of failure. What do I mean by that? There is so much work to be done right now. COVID left us either on another planet or on the same planet with a landscape that totally changed. None of us feel as if we have all of the resources or all of the abilities necessary to make it happen, nor do we feel that those that share with us fully comprehend the vision. And so in that regard, we sense that we just aren't cutting it. There's so much more we need to do, should be doing, wish we were doing, all of those woulda, coulda, shouldas and everything else, which ultimately say we don't feel we're totally cutting it. But I think that's a healthy sense of failure. I think God allows us to feel that way so that we keep pushing forward without a clear assessment of how successful our efforts have been up to this point. We will have to wait to hear him say, well done, because we'll probably not tell ourselves that. But that might be part of the divine design, so that when he says it, we'll hear it that much clearer.
Well, I think that's so important because when you make that statement about healthy failures, I think about two different aspects, the natural and the spiritual. The spiritual, where the scripture says, "I press towards the mark of the high calling," but then in the natural, where the author John Maxwell talks about failing forward, and I think that, as you say, for those of us who are trying to succeed and continue in the ministry, we have to learn how to fail forward. Can you talk a little more about healthy failure?
I think, Stephen, every one of us wakes up in the morning with so much that we see needs to be done. And we go to bed every night wondering if we accomplished enough for that day, if we move the needle any, not realizing that our sense of failure lets God know how seriously we take the work.
Mm.
And what is a sad look on our face is a smiling look on his.
Wow.
And I've had to grow to where I recognize that he sees what I see, but he also sees the efforts I put forward.
Mhm.
And what I call failure, my healthy sense of failure. I haven't accomplished, I haven't done this is not done, this is not done, is only emboldening how loud I will hear him say, well done.
Mm.
And I think all of us need to stop for a moment and stop beating ourselves and realize this is what goes with the turf. This is what any great leader sees when he or she is trying to move the needle. When you're trying to take the children of Israel to the promised land, you get there, but you feel so encumbered by everything that has to happen before you get there. When you're trying to conquer Canaan, you get it conquered, but you feel like you have not been the most effective because it took so long and you had to go through so much to get it done. But God wants us to put healthy in front of failure. I said,
Wow.
that's just you. That's just your assessment. That's just how you see you. But I still see you as a champion. I still see you as giving your all in all. I still see you as one I'm investing my spirit and power in to do fully, brilliantly, and completely whatever is at your charge to accomplish.
The doors of the church are already open. I mean and just in case a layperson is reading that, is listening to this, or viewing this, that's not just for ministry. That's for every aspect of your life. That's
Yes.
not what Bishop is saying. That you have to have a sense of healthy failure. Question number 2, because I don't want to hold you long. I know you're very busy. As we are faithful to the spiritual side of ministry, how important is it, in your opinion, for pastors and leaders to understand both the spiritual and practical side of leading our local congregations?
I think what we have to understand is that the Bible says of Jesus that he was the fullness of the Godhead bodily. In him, he was the image of the invisible God. In Jesus Christ, we see the completion of the human project in all of its fullness. And because of that, there is no dichotomy between the spiritual and the community. The spiritual becomes the engine through which the human does all of its work. If the spiritual is on a different wavelength, it is trying to bless fish instead of people.
Mm.
It is trying to move mountains instead of build communities. But the spirit of Christ entered into our reality to let us know what the spirit was concerned about, and then use flesh and blood to evidence it in human experience. And I think what we need to do is to return to that union with
Mm.
Christ, and let our sense of hisness permeate us into our community. You cannot belong to him as servant and servant leader and be detached from the world unless you out there trying to transform fish and baptize eels and pigeons. You got to pick up the work where Jesus picked it up. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir. No, that makes 100% sense. And then on top of that, can you talk about the importance of professionalism in ministry? And the reason why I say that is because a lot of times we compromise what we promote to our members and to onlookers, and we don't provide excellence even in how we carry out ministry, how we respond. Can you talk more about the importance of presentation that could possibly lead to transformation?
One of the interesting things, when the children of Israel left Egypt with nothing except what they spoiled the nation of, they took the riches of the Egyptians and they held them and housed them until they wanted them for the building of the tabernacle. And then they used these jewels and all of this finery to bespeak the connection with God. They put their priests in bedazzled splendor so that in beholding the priest, one got a sense of the otherness of God. Jesus came like us and came in the poverty of us, didn't wear robes and whatever, but the power of his persona made us totally aware that there is one among us who is not like us. He is in flesh, as Bill Jones would say. He is in flesh for flesh. But there is something unique about him. Did not our hearts burn? Yes. Who is this that speaks as one with authority? He evidenced in his personhood this presence. The children of Israel always bespoke of God as presence. Mm-hmm. And I think to try to wipe that out of our current presentation of the kingdom is to take away what God was trying to put us in. Mm-hmm. So that I don't mind being a preacher. I don't mind being an ambassador of the kingdom. I don't mind representing the kingdom. Paul said, if eating meat offends my brother, I ain't going to do it because that may mess up the kingdom. I want people to see the kingdom. Mm-hmm. And the kingdom is other. I don't need them to see the same thing. Mm-hmm. They see enough of that every day. They need to see the other. The definition of holy is other. So they need to see this differentness that walks among them. Somebody said, well, does that mean you wear a certain suit, you wear a tie all the time? That's a tire. And there are tires that are appropriate for certain things. This is the one thing I've learned. If we were invited to Windsor Castle to meet with the queen and the king and the queen, or the queen consort or whoever, if we were invited there, we would go and ask, what should we wear? Mm-hmm. Enough said. We want to represent. And I think there comes a time in our presentation, if my heart is representing, my clothes gonna follow. Mm-hmm.
You on a whole nother that now that's you that I love it because one person said you should dress as you want to be addressed.
Oh, I agree with you. John the Baptist came in strange clothes, eating bugs and jelly. But the power of his presence made people recognize you do not judge him by what he wears. Mm-hmm. What he wears is what he wears, but we are caught by the presence that he brings into the place. And one of the dangers we wrestle with It's folk define presence as presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Presence is that indefinable thing that God puts in you that is defined by folk as something other than you. And they conclude this must be the presence of God.
Must be. Must be. I'm loving this. I'm loving this. So, in light of everything that you are sharing with us, would you recommend, based upon what you know about the Kingdom Fellowship Conference, would you recommend to someone who is watching who may not have registered already to register for the upcoming conference? And if so, why should they attend this conference if they could, if they are able?
Stephen, they ought to come to this conference because first of all, the person who called it together did not call it together for any selfish motive or for any self-aggrandizement. He called this together because he thought it was an opportunity for struggling people and people looking for answers to come together and collectively find some of them. Will we find all of them? Absolutely not. Will we find some of them? Absolutely so. Will we be blessed? Without a shadow of a doubt. I would say come to this because it's going to expand your thinking and expand your mind. There's nothing like seeing what other people are doing to recharge your own batteries. This conference, to me, is one that gives you hope. The conference gives the individual person coming hope that I can find the paths that are necessary to bring powerful ministry into the midst of my people.
I agree with you. I attended last year, and it's truly amazing the information that you learn. And what I love is that he makes use of leaders from various backgrounds and various demographics, and shows the power of God in operating in all settings. So, regardless of the setting you are coming from, there is something there that you could relate to. And so, I totally agree with you, Bishop.
And the learning is not just head learning.
Nope.
There is an experience to be had. That's what I enjoyed about it. Coming up on the campus, parking my car, walking into the building, finding my seat, I sensed that I was in the right place.
Yes, sir.
This is where I needed to be.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
why I recommend it to people. This is where you will know this is where you need to be.
Well, y'all have heard it from the bishop. The bishop said this is where you need to be, and there are so many benefits that you will generate from this. But what I love about this, if you're a leader, you know the blessings begin in the head and roll down to your people and to those you are leading. And if you're a layperson, you're able to take things back to your ministry and help advance your ministry. And so we encourage you to definitely attend this Kingdom Fellowship AME conference, leadership conference that's coming up. Bishop, before I let you go, I'm asking this question for me.
Yes, sir.
I just want other people to listen in. They could listen in and benefit, but this question is for me. So as I continue to build our ministry, based on your years of experience, what advice would you give to me and the other pastors who are watching this video? If you could only give one advice, what would that one advice be?
Be open for that which you've never tried before. Constantly know that you live in the wonder, that the God you serve is not the God of just the ordinary and the God of the past, but he is the God who does things you've never seen before and who will bring into your experience the wonder of what the kingdom really is. If the one bit of advice I'd give to every preacher, nurture the wonder.
Wow.
Nurture the wonder. It will take you places that nothing else can take you.
Nurture the wonder. Wow.
It'll take you places nothing else that you have will be able to carry. Your education won't carry you. Your relationships won't carry you. Your abilities won't carry you. The wonder will take you places because you will see it in places you never saw it. and you will become enraptured by the sheer presence of God making itself manifest in your life. And from that, you will speak things that are not as if they are so, and they will come to pass. You'll walk in paths that have never been traveled, and highways will be created. Because the wonder is attached to mystery, and mystery is what we experience when we experience God. And he then flows through us to do fully, brilliantly, and completely everything he wants done.
Bishop, I'm done. I am done. You've given us a handful of wisdom based upon your years of experience, and I'm certain those who are viewing this truly appreciated this. And I pray and hope that you are able to attend the conference. And if you are not, you still want to listen to this interview over and over, because you'll pick up things that you miss. Now, for those who don't know, if they want to follow you, how can they follow you, Bishop?
Oh, you can come out on Instagram at Bishop W.S. Thomas, Instagram, and on Facebook. On YouTube, I normally broadcast through New Psalmist at youtube.com/New Psalmist BC. And you can join us there in that, because there we have not only worships, we have workshops, Bible studies, coaching classes, topics of discussion, all kinds of things we broadcast from there.
Awesome.
And we worship every Sunday morning at 9 o'clock.
Awesome. Bishop, I want to thank you so much on the behalf of Matthew Watley, myself, and other members from the team for joining this call, accepting this call. I know that you are extremely busy, and we do not take it for granted. For those who are looking to attend the conference, you have the pleasure of meeting Bishop. As he already knows, he's receiving an award at the conference, and we are excited to celebrate with you for that. So with that said, my name is Stephen Eugene Carter, again, pastor of Mount Average Church in Brooklyn, New York, and we wish that you have a blessed day, and please share this with other individuals. Have a blessed day.
Stephen, thank you for having me. And let me tell them, they want to be there with Matthew Watley for this.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. All right. God bless you. See y'all later.